All right, let's go ahead and get started. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Shazza. I'm one of the admissions counselors at Cal Poly Pomona with the Office of Admissions. Thank you for joining our Bronco Bound Next Steps workshop. We have an amazing cast of staff here to present to you guys with the Office of Admissions, Bronco Advising Center, and new student programs and family engagement. Before we get started, just a couple house rules. We will have questions at the very end. So if you have anything or want to go over any last minute questions, we will leave time at that at the very end as we toggle through the tons of information that we have for you guys. Please keep in mind if any questions come up or anything like that. Like I mentioned, we'll have questions at the very end, but just have fun, enjoy your time. Congratulations once again. And I do want to say as we get started, because most of you guys will be coming in for spring 2024 and likely have already started your college journey here at your transfer institution. We are so happy that you decided to choose Cal Poly to continue your educational path, and we welcome you. And you'll see here as we speak and as we present with tons of information, we are so excited to meet all of you guys once you come in for the spring semester and look forward to connecting with you guys. So again, congratulations. To go ahead and get started, I will introduce our interim director for new student programs and family engagement, the awesome David Estudiante. I will pass it along to him and then we can go ahead and get started.
Great. Thank you, Giselle. And I echo her congratulations. So excited to have everyone here. As she said, I oversee the Office of New Student Programs and Family Engagement. And what that means for you all today is mainly orientation. So as I go through this, how many you can do an emoji. I don't care if it's the clapping hands or if you can find the little horse because you're going to be a Bronco. If you've already scheduled an orientation, then throw out an emoji for me. Let me know. All right, I see some thumbs up. Okay. If not, we're going to talk about it right now, and we're going to make sure that when you leave here, you get registered. So there are a few components to orientation. There are the pre-orientation modules, which will release in 3 different parts. These are completely asynchronous and self-paced. You will get an email inviting you to complete the first 2 parts, part 1 and 2, on December 1st. And you want to make sure you get those done before your scheduled orientation day, which for the spring is Friday, January 5th, 2024. It is completely in person here on campus. You'll see the time down there is 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. After orientation day, we will release the 3rd and final part of the pre-orientation modules. And once again, the completion of the pre-orientation modules is mandatory. If you don't complete those, we will assign or reassign a hold on your account that will prevent registration for a future term. So both elements, the pre-orientation modules and your live orientation session, are mandatory. And we'll talk a bit more about the holds associated with those later on. All right, next slide. So how do you make a reservation? If you have not yet made your orientation reservation, the first thing you want to do is ensure that you've confirmed your intent to enroll here at CPP. Once you do that, then you are eligible to reserve your spot for orientation. We send an email that is always recurring. So whenever you do that intent, you'll get it within 24 to 48 hours, letting you know how to register. Side note, that does go to your CPP student email account. So a good frame of reference and note for anyone here, future communications from my office and even others here on campus, it will go to your student email account. So get in the habit of checking that regularly. If you have any difficulty registering for orientation, you can reach out to us at orientation@cpp.edu. At the end of the presentation, when everyone's done, and before Q&A, I'll walk people through what that screen looks like. And you just want to make sure you make your orientation reservation before November 22nd, 2023, because that is when it will close. And if you fail to make a reservation, you risk your admissions being withdrawn from the university. So what to expect at orientation? I break this up into 3 components because these are sort of integral to what we want you to experience when you join us here for the day. The first is an academic connection. So I know many of you are eager. You've been reaching out to our office or my colleague, Dr. Erin Lyon DeRosa, regarding advising. So part of your orientation day will include meetings with your academic college. You'll get an introduction, you'll meet faculty and staff in the area, and then do an advising session. You'll actually build your spring course schedule during your orientation day. So that's when you'll want to connect with anyone and they'll answer and address any questions you have. The second thing we hope you gain is a peer connection. I have a ton of orientation leaders, which are current students here at Cal Poly Pomona, the same ones that navigated all students through orientation this summer to begin in the fall. So they've already gotten a taste of what that looks like, and they're well-versed in sort of how to address your needs, concerns, and give you a holistic perspective of what it means to be a CPP student. And then finally, we want to ensure that you get connected to resources and support services that are going to be helpful in your success as a new Bronco. So as you register, if you've already registered, then you saw these learning pathways. This is something new that we launched this last year. If you haven't registered yet, then our learning pathways are an opportunity for students to sort of curate the day to their needs or sort of the things they'd like to hear more about. And we align these to the 3 areas within the Division of Student Affairs. So support and well-being, which will include more about our care center, student health services, counseling and psychological services. Belonging, which aligns with our equity and belonging cluster. So these are things like the Centers for Transformation, Retention, Equity, and Empowerment, which house our cultural and identity centers. And then finally, the Bronco experience. So ways to build your campus network, clubs and orgs, or leadership opportunities. This isn't to say that you don't get a little bit of a taste of all of the different types of support services here on our campus, but we want to ensure that you get something more tailored to your interest or needs as you look to transition here to CPP. All right, so frequently asked questions. The orientation fee is not due at the time in which you reserve or make your reservation. It's due February 5th. So we don't want a fee to hinder anyone from going through the process of becoming a new Bronco. You have time, and the reason we make that fee due in February, so if you are expecting any sort of financial aid or federal aid, that is after the disbursement date. So you can use any fees that you're set to receive to help offset the cost of orientation. If you're unable to join on January 5th, we recognize that some people make plans or have other obligations. What I will say is we hope that the date is early enough, advance notice that you can sort of work around your schedules. But if you absolutely cannot, reach out to our office and we'll talk about other opportunities so that you don't get your admissions withdrawn. If you want to change your major, this is huge. We hear this all the time. Like, oh, I got admitted to one major, but I'm thinking of going to another. So what session do I go to for advising? You attend your advising session for the major in which you've been admitted, even if you're looking to change that major. No one can change the major within the first semester. So your advisors for the major in which you've been admitted are already prepared with your information on how to best determine what courses are good for you. You can let them know during your advising session, during orientation, that you're looking or open to changing your major, but you still need to go to that specific session. If you need to adjust your reservation for any reason, you can log back in via the link in your email and make adjustments, or you can reach out to our office. We can add a guest, remove a guest, etc. Your student ID card, or what we call a Bronco One card here. When part 1 of the online orientation opens, or the pre-orientation modules, you'll get information on how to upload information and get or receive a Bronco One card. And we'll have their office on hand on Friday, January 5th, to pass out those Bronco One cards. And then finally, the 2 holds associated with orientation. The OAV hold is an orientation advising hold. That will be removed the morning that you check in for orientation on your live orientation day. The second ROS hold is placed for completion of the pre-orientation modules. So once you complete parts 1 and 2, we'll remove the ROS hold so you can enroll in courses on January 5th, and then we'll replace that hold and remove it once again when you complete the final part of the pre-orientation modules. All right, I know that was a lot of information. Feel free to take a screenshot here, but we're here to help. We want to support you in a transition, and we can't wait to see you all on January 5th.
All right, thanks so much, David. Hi, everyone. My name is Erin Lyandrosa. I am the Executive Director of University Advising, and that means that I get to work really closely with all of your advisors in the colleges to prepare materials ahead of time, and then to make sure that you have a really great advising and registration experience on your orientation day and throughout your time here at Cal Poly Pomona. So I will echo everyone's welcome. We are super, super excited to see you. I'm going to build a little bit upon what David talked about in terms of your advising and registration timeline. As he mentioned, there are some asynchronous components to your orientation experience that you will get access to on December 1st. So for those anxious students, for you all that are really excited and want to start preparing for your advising and registration ahead of your orientation date on January 5th, the easiest way to feel really confident and comfortable with your advising tools and all the and everything in terms of what to expect is to do a really thorough job with those asynchronous components of orientation. So those kind of self-paced modules that David shared about. Part 2 is all about advising and academic resources. And so that's a really great place to start. So that you will get access to on December 1st. After that, if you are an incoming freshman, you will receive some emails. And as David mentioned, make sure that you're checking your CPP email because we will send you some prompts to make sure that you are taking any required testing ahead of time to help you get placed in the appropriate math or English course. That is typically for freshmen only. So if you are coming to us as a transfer student or a returning transfer student, you likely will not need to take any tests. So don't worry about that. But the other thing that we want to encourage you to do is to attend a planner support workshop. So your academic planner is one of the tools that you will be introduced to in your online components, those asynchronous components ahead of time. And we'll talk about how that can help you to kind of plan out your time to your degree here and see what your path will look like. We'll introduce you to that tool and that asynchronous component. And then we'll have some workshops ahead of your orientation date. If you want to kind of dig in and really try it out, we'll have staff available to walk you through the actual tool. And in a few slides, we'll have some links to that. And then on your advising day, so your actual orientation day, that's where you will learn lots of details about your major. That is where you will register for your classes, and that is where you will meet with your assigned advisor. So all of our incoming students have an assigned advisor, and that person should stay with you from orientation all the way until you graduate. And so that'll be your first opportunity to meet them. Next slide. So if all of that sounds really exciting, but still December 1st sounds like a very long time from now, one of the things that you can do is start looking at Student Success Central. That is our, thank you, David, that is our advising kind of one-stop location for anything related to advising and registration. If you wanted to start exploring those tools now, get a sense of the different components or how to register, we have tons of information. So we have an academic calendar that shows you like when holidays are, when registration starts for continuing students, when the first day of classes are, things like that. We also have links to curriculum sheets and roadmaps and all of those tools that you're going to go over in that asynchronous module. We have directories of how to access advisors. We have guides, kind of step-by-step guides on how to navigate all of this stuff. So that is no secret. You don't have to log in. It is all available on that website that David just put in the chat. So that is something that you can start looking at right now. Next slide. Those components will help you to kind of get a feel for what to expect. And again, that December, when you get access to the modules on December 1st, that will give you, kind of walk you through step by step all of the tools that we'll be talking about. And then we will invite you to attend a pre-orientation planner workshop where you can start building out your personalized plan to your degree. And if you want to take a moment to scan that QR code, it'll kind of link you to the dates that those are available. The one on the left that says CPP Connect, that is so CPP Connect is the platform where students get access to their planner and can build their planner. You likely do not have access just yet, but when you do, we will make sure that you get, an email about it and all the instructions that you need to use it. So what will your actual advising and registration experience look like? It will be a group advising day because there are lots and lots of you and not so many of us. But that's okay because there will be plenty of advisors and peer mentors and peer staff there to help you kind of navigate the process. So you'll get to meet students in your major and you'll get major specific advising. Like I said, all of our advisors have been assigned to a group of students and are trained specifically on your major. So the advisors that you're working with that day will be trained on your major. You'll get an overview of your major, which includes like clubs, co-curricular activities, career options, everything that makes your major special. Then your advisor will walk you through your general education and your major courses, and they'll specifically review those curriculum sheets and planners with you. So again, those tools shouldn't be new to you on that first day because you've reviewed them on CPP Connect, on Student Success Central, you can take a look at them now. You will learn all about them in that asynchronous component. And this will be the time where you kind of put all of those pieces together and actually register for your classes. And that's what we'll spend the majority of the time that morning doing. So our goal will be to have you register for 12 to 15 units and to walk away feeling like you have registered for your spring classes and then have a plan for the following fall. After that advising day, you may still have additional questions or want some one-on-one time with an advisor, and that is more than okay. At that point, you will be able to schedule one-on-one appointments with your advisor, but we'll ask everybody to hold off making those appointments, and actually the system won't allow students to register for those one-on-one appointments until after you come to orientation. But if you have general questions just about how to access, any of the things that we talked about today, you can always reach out to the Bronco Advising Center, and we can provide you with some general overviews, and our contact information will be on the next slide. And then, like I mentioned before, you can visit Student Success Central for the advising directory after advising so that you can make an appointment with your assigned advisor. The other piece I did just want to draw your attention to is the little post-it note there about Billy Chat. So Billy Chat is our artificial intelligence text messaging robot. Billy is available to all students who are admitted to the institution, and Billy will text you reminders about important dates and campus services, about deadlines that are coming up. It will also answer questions for you 24/7. So I don't know about my colleagues, but I am not open, or I'm not up at 2 or 3 in the morning. But Billy is always available. And we know that our students are definitely taking advantage of it in the middle of the night as well. So you can always message Billy if you have questions. If you feel like you don't know about Billy, or maybe a family member has been receiving Billy text messages and you haven't, you can always scan that QR code. And that's a way to kind of reset things if needed. And there is our contact information. So we really look forward to connecting with you first at that planner workshop. And you can pick from any of the dates that are listed there. And then specifically on your orientation day, where we'll do that advising and registration. So on behalf of my office, my team, again, welcome and congratulations. And we can't wait to see you soon. I'll turn it over to our team in admissions.
Awesome. Thank you, Erin, and thank you, David, for going over that information. Like David mentioned earlier at the very end as well, for those of us that just joined, we will be going over orientation and how to sign up at the end. But let's go ahead and continue over with the Office of Admissions. My name is Giselle. I'm an admissions counselor here at Cal Poly Pomona. We're going to first go over admissions and transcripts. So welcome. You guys have all been admitted into Cal Poly Pomona. We are so excited to see you guys start for spring 2024. But a common question that we get is, I'm a provisional admitted student. What exactly does that mean? So let's go over that in a little bit, the details. Students who are admitted are provisionally admitted based on self-reported information that you enter on Cal State Apply, which is our CSU application. We need official transcripts just to verify what you entered on the application and all the requirements are met. So while you're currently provisionally admitted, just keep in mind we will be conducting final evaluations and just verifying all official transcripts do reflect what's on the application submitted. Keep in mind, at this point, we really hope that you've submitted your transcripts, your AP scores, your IB scores to us at this point. If you have not, please be sure to submit transcripts as soon as possible. Please keep in mind, sending transcripts, one, must be official, can be sent by third-party transcripts or testing services such as Parchment or National Clearinghouse, and will be and can be sent to our Verify email address, which you all can see here, verify@cpp.edu. For those of us who like to send mailed transcripts, which are unopened, they can be mailed directly to Cal Poly Pomona. If you want to take a screenshot, write down our address. I'll leave this slide up for just a little bit. You can also mail official documents to Cal Poly Pomona with the attention of the admissions office at the following address that you see. Besides transcripts, you want to then send external exams such as AP, which is Advanced Placement, and IB, International Baccalaureate scores over to us. Specifically with AP scores must be official scores reported from College Board. They are scores of 3 or higher and up to 6 units of college credit per exam. If you have IB scores, those scores of 4 or higher on the HL or higher level can be used for exams up to 9 units of college credit per exam. For those of you guys that have to submit or may have already submitted those scores to us, our school code is 4028. So again, be sure to submit transcripts if you haven't already. If you have IB or AP scores, be sure to submit them as soon as possible. Moving forward, outside of transcripts and exam scores, the next thing that you want to do, and David touched base on this a little bit earlier in his presentation, is submitting intent to enroll. What exactly is that, right? We offer you admissions. Why do I need to submit the intent to enroll? Well, submitting the intent to enroll is a 2-step process, which can be done in Bronco Direct, which you can see on the screenshot provided here. It's to accept admission on behalf of Cal Poly Pomona. To do that, you would have to pay a $150 fee if applicable. Keep in mind there is a deadline to submitting your intent. It is due November 16th. There's also the fee of the $150, which goes towards your semester fees. And keep in mind, and we get this common question, it is a non-refundable fee, nor is it transferable. So if you have applied to other schools, unfortunately, we can't send over that $150 fee to another institution. Unfortunately, it is non-refundable. If you guys can see on the bottom left-hand side, there's also a QR code. You can take a screenshot of that now if you wish to submit your intent to enroll by the deadline, which is just coming up in a few days, guys. Can I get a show of responses in the chat to echo David? Can I get an emoji, a thumbs up, a show of hands? Who has submitted their intent here with us at Cal Poly Pomona? Awesome. Quite a few hands. We love to see it. Great, guys. Again, if you haven't, there is still time to submit your intent to enroll. We have about 8 days. The reason why we ask for your participation with this question is because, much like our next steps, failure to submit intent to enroll will result in your application being withdrawn. We don't want a questionable Billy. We want to make sure that you guys meet dates and deadlines by the appropriate time frame. Last but not least, just a few things that we covered in our presentation that I want to just quickly go over before we finish up with questions. So as you guys are admitted students here with us at Cal Poly Pomona, there's 4 things that you must be sure to complete before classes start January 20th. Now, some of the things we already covered over our various presentations. Number 1, be sure to submit transcripts, AP or IB scores. Submit as soon as possible if you have not done so already. Number 2, intent to enroll. Again, the deadline is November 16th. Be sure to accept your admissions offer and pay the enrollment deposit if applicable. This is done so within Bronco Direct. Number 3, register for mandatory orientation. That is done and should be completed by now until November 22nd, as well as attend orientation, which is going to be in January 5th specifically. Once all of those things are complete in the next few weeks, you guys will be more than well and ready to go to get started for your first semester here at Cal Poly Pomona. Again, spring semester does start on January 20th, 2024, and your story starts here. We're so excited to have you all. Tons of things that you guys will complete in the next few weeks if you haven't done so already. If at any point you're unsure, you're not sure who to reach out to, you have tons of questions, you can always contact the Office of Admissions. Our phone number, email, website, and address are here. You're able to contact us at any time by phone, email, or show up to our front counter. Myself and our admissions counselor, Jasmine, are always here to assist with any questions if you'd like to also follow us on social media for updates. Other than that, Thank you guys so much. We will open it up for questions, but before we do, because I know you guys do have questions, I want to be sure to give David the time and space to go over how to sign up for orientation. So let's go ahead and hand it off to David. After that, once David is, we'll then go ahead and present on the orientation, how to sign up, and then we'll open it up to questions once we are done there. So David,
Yeah,
I
there we
believe you may
go.
have
Thanks,
access.
Giselle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. All right, so we're going to walk you through how to register once again for orientation. Once again, I saw all the thumbs up or the emojis put in the chat for those that have already confirmed their intent. That's beautiful. That's great. That's the one thing you'll need to have done in order to qualify for orientation registration. When you click the link in the email, it'll prompt you to come here. You'll use your login credentials to sign in. Oh, of course, it's going to do that. Give me just a second. JK, and we'll redo this again. And I'll drop the link in the chat as well for anyone that may need it. So give me just a second and pull that back in. Let's see if I can just go back. All right, hold on. Let me stop sharing and grab the link real quick. And then we'll do it. So if anyone has a question in the meantime, we'll answer it as I pull up this link. There it is. There it is. Oh, we're going to try this again. Here we go. All right. So like I said, it'll ask you for your login credentials. If you haven't set up Duo, you want to make sure you do that as well. Prove myself getting in. Once you get in, it should automatically recognize you. I have a test record in the system, so that's why it says this here. So all it's going to ask you for is your CPP email address. It should pre-populate some other information for you. We ask a few questions. This is mainly just for us so we can get to know you a bit more and try to tailor some of the services to your needs. Dietary restrictions, because breakfast and lunch is included in your orientation as well as parking, so you don't have to worry about that. You are eligible to bring up to 2 guests. If you opt to do that, there is a fee associated, but again, they also get breakfast, lunch, and parking, as well as swag items. We'll do that here. As I talked about during my presentation, we allow you to choose a learning pathway. So you'll read the description, select the one you'd like, and then consent to our media release and submit. That's it. Once you do that, you'll get our confirmation email with all the items you should bring to your orientation day. We try to make it as easy and painless as possible. Okay, there we go.
Awesome, David. Thank you so much for showing us that information. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. If you guys would like to raise your hands, and we can go ahead and call you by that, or if you're shy like myself, you are welcome to go ahead and use the chat box to answer any questions that you guys may have. And then Angel, are you able to unmute yourself? Go ahead and ask your question. Okay, Angel went ahead and asked in the chat, will transfer students be contacted, I believe, let's read this, be contacted prior to orientation day about transferable credits?
Yeah, I was like, Aaron, we can tag team this. For the most part, no. Like I said in my presentation, advising and registration takes place during your orientation day, but Aaron, if there's anything you want to add.
Yeah, exactly. So we likely won't contact you ahead of time. It's just important that you have all those transcripts in. That is how we'll start to process that transfer credit, make sure that it is done and ready to go, so that when you register for your classes, all of your transfer credit is in there and all of your prereqs are taken care of. I always recommend that if students are coming, if you have a copy of like your unofficial transcript or just like the courses that you've taken, that's always helpful to have on your orientation day, even if you can just pull it up on your phone. But otherwise, we shouldn't be contacting you ahead of time. I have military credits. I assume there will be sufficient time to confirm prereqs on my orientation day. So your advisor will work with you on that. Absolutely. They will kind of help you to navigate that. And if you have a prerequisite for something and it's not processed in the system, we can help either get you permission numbers or kind of navigate the steps that you need.
I also want to mention, since you mentioned military credits, our colleagues at the Veteran Resource Center, which are actually my office neighbors, they're right across the hall. They also do a virtual or pre-orientation for anyone utilizing any sort of veteran or military benefits. Elke is the director over in that office, and our office works closely with her to ensure that we get everyone taken care of that may be using any services of theirs. Bradley?
Hi, will we receive an email or some kind of confirmation when the school gets our transcripts?
I can go ahead and answer this, and that's a great question, Bradley. So we won't necessarily send you a confirmation email, but on your Bronco Direct, you can see if the transcripts have been removed off your to-do list. That's one way. You can always reach out to us too, specifically either by email or phone call. That way we can verify on your behalf.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll answer the one about the orientation similar to CPP Day, since I saw Jasmine just responded back to Joel or Joel, however you say that name. I apologize if I said it wrong. But for Josh, orientation will be different than Explore CPP. There's a bit more structure. We'll have orientation leaders that are current students actually navigate you through the day. We do a joint welcome in the morning. We're actually going to do a welcome with all students and any guests they opt to bring. And then from there, you get time with your academic college. So we'll dismiss you by college, and you'll go and engage in some conversations, meet other individuals that are doing majors similar to yours, or at least within your academic college. We'll do lunch together. And then the afternoon is when we do our learning pathways. So you'll get a bit more structure and presentations tailored to your interest and to help support you in your transition. The other thing I like to say is that you'll get plenty of swag, so we'll do that, and it's different swag than you got at Explore CPP. But at the end of the day, we also do an opportunity drawing, and what we did this last summer and worked well was we'll give out one parking permit for the coming semester during orientation day. So if you stay all day long and as you participate throughout the day, you'll get raffle tickets, and we'll put those into an opportunity drawing, and then someone will win something that's equivalent to up to $300 for that parking permit.
I see Jessica's been like raising her actual hand. It's Jessica.
Yeah, that was my question. Thank you. About the my Bronco name is like the silliest question, but I did fill out the account. I did fill out the password. I just can't log in. I don't know what the silliest. I never received like a confirmation email that said, "Oh, this is your name." What would my Bronco name be?
So you're
Go ahead, Erin. I was going to say you can reach out to me. It should be your first letter of your first name, and I think Erin said your last name as well. Sometimes, and I know that happened with me because I was a student at Cal Poly Pomona for my undergrad. I had a number or digit. I can give you my email address specifically if you want to reach out to me, and I can look it up for you as well, Jessica.
Yeah, please.
Okay, perfect. I will put it in the chat for you. That way you
Thank
can reach
you
out to
so
me
much.
directly. Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And I know we have a few questions in the chat, so let me go ahead and read them out loud. And thank you, Erin and David and Jasmine. I see that you're answering students' questions. I do see one question. Are we required to be, I'm assuming at orientation, from 8:30 to 4:30, or are there any between times?
Of course. So this is what I say. 8 to 9 a.m. will be check-in. So as long as you arrive in between that time, then you'll be checked in. You have to check in the morning for us to know that you've participated and to remove your advising hold. After check-in, we do a welcome, and then you go to your academic college. Typically, you're done with registration and advising and doing an introduction to your academic area around lunchtime. What I say, there's two answers I'm going to give here. One, I'm going to say, yes, you can leave after that. I know a majority of students come to build their academic schedule, and that's what's going to make them feel comfortable. And then they have other obligations they need to get to. I understand and I recognize that. But the other half of what I'm going to say is my office works hard to curate the agenda to ensure that you all have a full experience. Coming to Cal Poly Pomona and attending college, you all, especially transfer students, have already done this. It's not just going to class. It's about the environment and community you're going to build. And so you really get that during your orientation day. You're going to get to meet other individuals that are in programs similar to yours or have interests aligned to yours. So if you can't stay all day, I understand, but I highly encourage you all to hang out with us all day. I promise it's really curated. You'll have a great time. We have lots of fun. That's my spiel.
Awesome. Thank you, David. And I do have a question in the chat, and we are responding to your chats as quickly as we can. And if I don't get to them, I'll be sure to read them out loud shortly. Another question we have is all the problems about changing majors can be solved on orientation day, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to kind of reiterate what David mentioned before, which is students cannot change majors until after you are at the institution for a full term. So it requires you to have a CPP GPA for the term that you were most recently admitted to the institution. And so that means that you will need to maintain, like stay in advising for that day and stay in your current major until the end of the first term. However, at orientation, if you're pretty sure that you're going to change majors, talk to your advisor about that, and they can help you to register for classes that will kind of allow you to kind of prepare for that change of major. And they can also talk you through the change of major requirements, because sometimes we have students who are admitted for one major, they really want to switch to another one, but it's actually harder to change majors sometimes, especially to impacted majors. So if you're interested in like aerospace engineering or computer science, those are highly impacted majors. And so there are additional requirements for courses that you need to take in GPAs. And that's another reason why you have to wait the first term to be able to change your major. So I guess long story short, talk to your advisor that day, but you won't be able to officially change until after your first term.
Bradley, I see your hand up, and then Josh, I'll get to your question about a guest. Bradley?
Yes, I wanted to double check, how much is the orientation fee, and do we have to pay it there when we go there?
Of course, that's a great question. So if you are coming as a transfer student, the fee is $87.38. I know that's a random amount, but that's what it is. It's applied to your student account. You do not have to pay the day that you show up. You'll actually pay through your Bronco Direct. You'll see the fees listed there. It's not due until February 5th. So once again, if for some reason you are going to receive, not for some reason, but if you are going to receive any sort of financial aid or federal aid and you expect a reimbursement, we put our due date after the reimbursement. So if you'd like to use those funds to pay your orientation fee, you can do that then. If you want to pay it earlier, you can do it. I mean, anyone that's registered, unless you've registered in the last 20 minutes, but anyone that's registered prior, you should already see that account on your student account, and you can go in and pay that whenever you'd like, as long as you do it before February 5th. And then in terms of a guest, is it recommended? That's really up to you. I will say my office, we plan 2 separate orientations. So we plan the student experience and we plan the parent and supporter orientation. So you'll do a joint welcome, but then parents and supporters or any guests that you bring will go a one way and do a separate track. We got really good feedback from individuals that participated this last summer that they appreciate sort of the welcoming presentations and a breakdown of an understanding of what it means to be a Cal Poly student, but also your guests are becoming members of the Cal Poly Bronco family. So we want to make them feel included and help them understand what sort of access they have to information, events, and other activities here on campus. So it's not necessary, but if you feel like a guest would really get something valuable out of the experience, we encourage you to do so.
And there's sorry, go ahead, David.
Yeah, I'm trying to go through the pre-orientation modules. You don't have to do anything right now. And actually, if you click the link, it would say it's under construction mode because we're updating everything for spring 2024. You will get an email from the Office of New Student Programs and Family Engagement on December 1st, letting you know that parts 1 and 2 are now live and that you can go in and start working and completing those. Completely asynchronous. And at the end of that, it'll pause. You only have to get through parts 1 and 2, and we'll remove the hold, and just make sure you do it before January 5th.
And I believe we've answered, if all not questions audibly, but in the chat as well. Does anyone have any additional questions? You're again welcome to raise your hands. You can answer them in the chat, but I believe all questions have been answered. there is a question. Are there any other items that would preclude a student from beginning the spring 2024 term? So Angel, that's a great question. You just want to make sure that you submit your intent, your transcripts, be sure to sign up for orientation and attend orientation by the deadline. As we mentioned, there's going to be a robust amount of information next few weeks that we give to you, and make sure that you're successful before the January 20th start date of the spring semester. So just stay on top of the dates and deadlines. If you have any questions for us, you can always reach out. But those are the things you'll need to complete within the next few weeks. And again, if you guys do have questions, we'll hang back. I believe all questions have been answered in the chat, if not audibly, and thank you, Erin, David, and Jasmine for answering them. But if you guys don't have any questions, again, congratulations. Thank you for joining us today. We'll hang back for a few more minutes. You're welcome if you have private questions or anything else you'd like to ask, feel free to reach out, but we can't wait to see you guys January 20th. And
Yeah.
as you guys complete the next steps.
I'll also mention, for those of you, some of you are asking questions, nervous about transfer credits or other things. We have time before January 5th, but also we host orientation during the work week and during working hours. So if you need to step out for some reason to go to a different office or connect with someone, colleagues are available. You can go do that and take care of business on that day. So it's really beneficial and helpful if there's any other outlying things that may come up or things you need to take care of.
And I will just add, like, I know that it feels a little bit anxious to maybe not see all that transfer credit in there yet. We have plenty of time between now and then, and it is likely probably closer to that January 5th date that you will see that credit posted. So don't worry just yet. You have lots of time.
And I will add to that that the Office of Admissions does everything possible to make sure your transfer credit is posted by your orientation day. That way, when you all go to register, there are no hiccups about prerequisites or anything like that. But if they are, the advisors do know to contact us, and we try to fix that as soon as possible. That way, we can get you registered in the appropriate classes.
And then regarding parking, I'll say this, when you come to orientation, you can ask the students firsthand because they're going to be the ones moving you through the day. And I tell my students to be as authentic and open as possible so you get the full understanding of what it means. But yes, parking is a hot commodity here. You may not get the closest parking spot. So I always say our campus is fairly big. Wear some comfy shoes. Even as staff, we're moving around campus quite a bit. So you may not get something super close by or near the building you need, but the beauty of that is you get to explore campus as you're walking to and fro. So I typically say give yourself an extra hour at the beginning of the semester before your class starts. And then as the semester goes on, you'll see a trickle down effect and it'll be a little easier.
And then Josh, I see you have a question in the chat. What if I don't know if I have AP or IB in our baccalaureate credits? No worries. To send over, I took a gap while in the military and I don't remember if I have either of those. I've already sent the official transcript over. Well, Josh, I'll go ahead and give you my email. We can connect offline. I can verify with the information on your transcripts, but that's definitely a great question to ask, and we can be sure and just double check any of that for you. So I'll connect with you. I'll send you my email in the chat so that way you have it. Yes, so Jasmine, thank you. It's okay. We can totally go over any questions that you have. You asked if there was a fee waiver for the $150 fee that is due the 16th. If students are eligible, once they submit their intent to enroll, it will then be applied if they're eligible. So as you submit the intent, if you don't have to pay the $150, then you would qualify for the fee waiver and you could submit as is. If by chance you do not qualify, that $150 would be due by the time of November 16th, unless you decide to submit the intent earlier.
And I will add to that, the system essentially prompts you to pay or not to pay. If it prompts you not to pay, then that means you were eligible for the fee waiver. There is no appeal to this fee. So if the system does prompt you to pay the $150, you will have to pay that. But as Giselle mentioned earlier, that $150 does go towards your spring tuition. So it is not an extra fee that we are assessing.
Joel, to schedule an appointment with a department here, yeah, you would mainly reach out to their contact info. It depends on what department you're looking for. I will say advisors, advising, registration, all that sort of thing. For a new student, they're going to tell you to hold off until orientation day. But if it's another office like Veterans Resource Center or admissions, or even my office, if you have additional questions about orientation, by all means, go to our websites, email us, and find a way to connect with us and make an appointment.
And Josh, for your question about transcripts, if there are no transcripts that are due on your CPP portal on your to-do list, then you're all good. If you are taking classes in the fall, you're just going to want to follow up with official transcripts once those grades have been posted. That way we can add that transfer credit to your file. Keep in mind, if you are taking fall courses, we are most likely not going to get those credits on by your orientation day, January 5th. There's just not enough time because technically all admission requirements were supposed to be met by the end of summer. Fall is just extra coursework. So you may just have to give us a couple more weeks to finish that off, but you'll send transcripts to us once those grades are posted.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. I don't see any other questions in the chat. Again, we'll give it open for another minute. If you guys do have any questions, we did go ahead and give our contact information. You're welcome to reach out to, as David mentioned earlier, orientation admissions, and we thank you guys for joining us today. So no other questions. Again, thank you guys and congratulations. We look forward to seeing you guys in the spring semester.
Thank you. Take care.